Welcome back to the Rethink Everything podcast. Today, you only get me, Kyle Draper, the originator of this entire series, because as we release more books, what will quickly be forgotten is this all started with this little purple book, as it has become known as Rethink Everything You Need to Know About Social Media. And that's where I got my start. I spent 10 years as a pastor. Then I jumped into the business world and started cutting my teeth in business, quickly learning the power of social media. And though some things have changed over the last 13 years of me being in the marketing world, the core beliefs, in my opinion, have remained the same. And so what I want to talk about in this episode is Chapter 3 of Rethink Everything You Know About Social Media. If you don't have that book, please go pick it up. It's on Amazon. And though it's 3 years old, it was written in a way that it cuts through trends, it cuts through updates. It speaks to what I believe are the core problems that people have that aren't great at showing up online, or that do show up online, but they're not getting any movement from it. They're not seeing business come in from it. And so we're going to dive in. And here is what chapter 3 of the purple book is all about. It is simply titled this: Everything has already been said. And so my favorite book of all time is called Steal Like an Artist. It is written by a gentleman named Austin Kleon. If somehow he ever listens to this, brother, thank you so much for being the inspiration for this. And in that book, because that book is what spurred on everything we do at Rethink Everything, he quoted a writer, a French writer in that book, Andre Gide, who said, everything that needs to be said has already been said. But since no one was listening, everything must be said again. And so one more time, for those of you that are listening to this too fast or listening to this while you're distracted, everything that needs to be said has already been said. But since no one was listening, everything must be said again. When I was a pastor, I had a boss that would say, if you don't feel like a broken record every week when you're meeting with your volunteers, you're doing it wrong. Why? Because they forget. Every 7 days, they come back to church. They don't remember what we told them 7 days ago. They've lived an entire life since then. They've been at sporting events. They got pulled over by the cops. They traveled out of town and got stuck on an airplane. That they have lived plenty of life in those 7 days. And so we have to become broken records. And this is what I've seen play out in the world of social media for business. If we're not careful, we get caught up in this mindset that everybody already knows what I do. And then the second thing we get caught up in is that we assume that if I know it, so does everyone else. And so we take our expertise in whatever that is, and then we just assume, well, isn't everybody good at that? Doesn't everybody know how that works? And so we have to realize that if you want your business to grow, if you want your business to be more successful than it currently is, stop outthinking yourself. Go back to the basics. Remember, everything that needs to be said has already been said, but since no one was listening, everything must be said again. And there's also a verse in scripture that, again, is in the Old Testament. This is thousands of years old. And before the internet, before social media, before AI, somebody was already writing what? There's nothing new under the sun. Thousands of years ago, somebody was already saying there's nothing new under the sun. And that was before AOL, right? Y'all remember AOL? Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? Before that, There was nothing new to say. And so that's still true today. And so if you're the person that has struggled with being present online, and that struggle has been you aren't creative. I'm just not good at those trending videos. I'm not good. Guess what? Welcome to the club. Me either. What we need to do is we simply need to be more present than we currently are. Period. And so, let me talk you guys through a couple strategies to help you overcome this struggle. And can I first say that if this struggle is your struggle, that this struggle is normal? I know your mind is going to lie to you and convince you that you're the only weirdo, you're the only person that struggles with this, but you're not. We all do. We all do. I have interviewed the best of the best on social media on a previous podcast of mine, and all of those people said the same thing. Everybody deals with imposter syndrome. Everybody falls into the struggle that everybody already knows this. It is normal. And so stop letting your mind tell you that you're broken, because you aren't, but you are, right? We all are. But I've got the fix for you. And so the first thing is this: I want you to write down every question you've ever been asked about your business or your industry. Every question. And let me give you a spoiler. If you don't actually want to do this exercise, you can just plug this into AI, right? You can go to AI and you can say, "I'm a realtor. What are the 100 most common questions people search about real estate on the internet? I'm in fitness. What are the 100 questions people search most commonly on the internet?" Right? Just pick it. Pick the industry. Ask ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or Grok, whatever you're using, and it will give you the most commonly asked questions. This isn't rocket science. You're not the only person in the world in your industry, in your profession. And so you can use AI you want if you want to, speed this process up. But you need to be able to quickly identify what are the commonly asked questions in my industry. The second question is this: what am I surprised that people don't already know? What I've seen to be true in every industry is every industry has its own jargon. Every industry has shortened sentences and phrases. And so we can spout off 3 letters, and if we're in that industry, we know what it means. If we are not in that industry, we have no idea what it means. And so I want you to think about all the times that you've been sitting across from a client, on Zoom with a client, on the phone with a prospect, and you say something to them and they go, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa. Tell me again what that means." That should start to signal in your head for you to go, "Whoa. If they didn't know what that means, I bet other people don't know what that means. I just assumed everybody knew what that meant, but they don't." And so, what are you surprised that people don't already know? Make another list. This list might be a little bit harder to create using AI because I think there's a level of experience that comes with understanding this list. But between the first and the second question, right? What do I get asked the most about my industry? What am I surprised that people don't already know? That should develop at least 100 topics for you. So now, what do? Well, we choose to not overthink this. We choose to not outwit ourselves, outcreate ourselves, and we go, "I'm going to commit to recording a 30 to 60-second video answering all of these questions." And maybe there's a few that get answered in 18 seconds. Maybe there's a few that require 3 minutes. And so you're going to do it for 3 minutes. But you're going to put in the effort to educate people about your industry, because the reality is most people don't know what you know. Most people don't know what you know. And we live in a world now where we have so much access to information, we we almost have to position ourselves as, I'm going to give you everything you need to not need me, knowing that most of you will still choose me. Because I could teach you how to do the things that I do, but for most people, they don't want to stop and actually do those things. They would rather pay for those things to be done on their behalf. So if you were in real estate, why don't you teach a for sale by owner how to sell their house? 10 out of 100 people might actually take your advice and do it themselves. The other 90 are going to rather you do it. But because you taught them how to do it, they now believe that you're worthy. They believe that you're capable. They trust you because you gave your secrets away. What an incredible way to grow a business in 2026. Because in the 90s, when I watched my parents grow their business, right, it was more about keeping things tight to your chest until you get somebody on the phone. But the world has changed, hasn't it? It's different now. That's not how it is. People aren't looking for the best in the industry. People are looking for who they believe is competent, but then more importantly, who they believe they can trust. And this is why not overthinking social media is so important. Because if you fall into this, I just want to make trendy videos so I can have a chance to go viral. And guys, good luck. I know tons of people that have gone viral that has made them nothing, $0. But man, it was so cool to get 50,000 views. It was cool to go home that night and brag to my family about it. Didn't make them any money, but they got to brag superficially. And so we've got to realize that, and this is actually chapter 1 of my book, that everything comes down to the sniff test. People want to be able to look you up online and very quickly identify if they think you're competent or not. And so if you've spent a bunch of time doing dancing videos, you think people are watching those going, yeah, that's the person that I trust to do business with for sure. Maybe somebody, but not most people, because they want to see you educate. They want to be able to decide if by watching your videos, can they determine if they believe you're a good person or not? That they are asking themselves, are you human like they are? And so if you were to go look at my content, you're going to see content with my kids, with my wife. You might randomly catch our dog. Once we added the third kid, the dog got less action on social, but yet you can still go find Parker somewhere. You're going to see me at church. You're going to see me traveling and speaking at events. Right? You will very quickly realize if you go to look me up, dang, Kyle's a real person. I think I like him. This is the power of the way the internet has evolved. I don't need you to like my content. I want you to trust me as a human. And enough of the right content helps us achieve that. And so that is the goal for everything we should be doing. And so here's what I would recommend. I would look at your business and go, how many different buckets of people do I have? And so when you develop your buckets, maybe it's 3, maybe it's 5, do you have the ability to then go, okay, what does this bucket need? What would be the right videos for this type of person to watch? And so why would we not have our own YouTube channel? How much does that cost? It's free 99. And then have playlists that can be public or they can be unlisted. And so you can have them unlisted, which means only someone with the link can see those. And so what if you had a combination of public playlists and unlisted playlists, and they spoke directly to a certain type of consumer for you? And so in the world of real estate and mortgage, which is where I come from, I could have a playlist for first-time homebuyers. That's a unique person. I could have a playlist for VA buyers, which is the veteran community, men and women that have served our country. Right? I could have a playlist for the jumbo loan, which is the biggest loan product for a little wealthier type of person. And so if that's a loan product that you enjoyed, if you were in that industry, let's have playlists that speak directly to people. So we've got videos that speak to everybody, but then we've got videos that get very granular to a specific type of person. This is how we went online in 2026. And so I want to encourage you with this as we wrap up this episode. One of the things that I love that Austin Kleon said in Steal Like an Artist is celebrate and copy. You see, oftentimes we look at other people's stuff and we get discouraged. We look at other people's stuff and then we feel bad, but we steal it. But we end up in a worse place if all we do is watch other people, feel bad about ourselves, but then feel just not enough guilty to steal it and try to do it ourselves. What he teaches is celebrate and copy. When you see something someone else is doing, celebrate it. Man, what a great post. What a great video. What a great idea. And then go copy it uniquely for yourself. You don't have to go, well, they already did it, so I guess I can't do it. Their people don't know them. They don't know your people. There's nothing new under the sun. And so we've got to do this different. So I'm going to tell you again, if you don't have it, go get my first book, Rethink Everything You Know About Social Media. It's 99 pages. You'll read it in less than an hour and a half. And I believe that there is a nugget for you that can change your life, can change your business, can give you fresh perspective. And that's what I want for you. That's why I wrote it. That's why we've now written all these. If you're seeing the video of this, it's all the books in my background. And so if you're new here, don't forget that we have a store full of Rethink Everything swag. You can go to rethinkeverythingbooks.com. If you're new here and you're like, man, maybe I should write a book, you absolutely should. And we'd love to talk to you about it. You can go to rethinkeverythingbooks.com and go submit a form and we'll chat and talk about the book that maybe you need to write. And if you're not new here, thank you for being a dedicated listener to the Rethink Everything podcast. Thank you for being invested in the books. We are just getting started. We are 15 books in. We've got 285 to go to get to my first goal. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next one.